When Konami started officially developing games for the Sega Genesis, they loaded her up with some incredible software. From the great beat-em-up starring everyone's favorite Mutant Ninja Turtles, to tracking down Dracula once again, they created some truly memorable continuations of their best franchises. The hits just kept on coming too. Contra was there in all its run-and-gun glory, and Konami even blessed us with an all-new IP that was as good as action gaming could get during that era. But among all the heavy hitters we were blessed with, Konami had one that would slip through the cracks and be completely overlooked. Tiny Toon Adventures, Buster's Hidden Treasure, was released in March of 1993 to an incredible amount of critical acclaim. Just about every publication under the sun gave it rave reviews, yet somehow this delightful game gets little love in the retro circles of today. Did Sonic swallow up all the accolades and attention? Did Konami's other games just command that much more respect that it got left behind? In this episode, we will be taking a look at Tiny Toon Adventures, Buster's Hidden Treasure, Konami's hidden gem for the Sega Genesis. The story here starts out quite similar to a great many games in the platforming genre. Buster discovers a treasure map while cleaning, but before he can head off to find it, the dastardly Montana Max steals the map and runs off. To make matters worse, Montana Max also uses mind control helmets on your friends to help him in his quest. That means that not only has he taken your map, but now he's taking your friends as well. The object of this one is about as simple as they come. Guide Buster through multiple areas, rescue your friends, and beat Montana Max to the treasure. Gameplay is just as easy and is designed to be as user-friendly as possible. It doesn't take long for you to build up speed into a full tilt run, which is very reminiscent of Sega Sonic titles. Buster can of course jump on most enemies to take them out, and he has a slide attack that can do the same. Along with these methods of dealing with your enemies, Buster can also call some friends to help him out in a pinch. That's where your carrots come into play. Collect 50 of them and you will get a power-up to use your friends anywhere you want. Along with the carrots, you can also get extra hearts to replenish your life, bells to increase the number of hearts you have up to a total of 5, crystals which provide invincibility, and of course the rare but helpful 1-up to give you another life. Stages are of your typical left and right scrolling affairs with the occasional boss encounter. The goal here is to free your friend by taking out the evil Dr. Gene Splicer and freeing them from his control. Buster also has a wall jump that can be used to get to areas otherwise inaccessible. Should you lose all your lives, you can continue as much as you want until you get to the halfway point, and then your continues disappear completely. Fortunately, you have a password system in place to take advantage of, and you can replay stages you have already defeated thanks to the overworld map. You have the run of the place, and you can indeed keep collecting extra lives on the easy stages, so build them up early for the later challenge. Also sprinkled among your stages are bonus areas. These can be well hidden, but give you a chance at some nice bonuses. Look for the rainbow to find out more. Konami used a tiny 4 megabit cartridge for Buster's Hidden Treasure here, a surprise considering its 1993 release. Despite the limited ROM, it still manages to impress visually. Buster and his enemies are animated well, all things considered, and the stages look great for the most part. There is a decent amount of variety too. Buster will be racing through bright and sunny hillsides, dark and dank forest, snow-covered mountains, and of course some underwater areas to mix things up. I was surprised to see Konami really skimp on the parallax and other scrolling effects in the backgrounds, however. While they look fine, they don't really stand out like other games Konami developed on the Genesis. Compared to something like Rocket Knight Adventures, the backgrounds are actually quite tame. Fortunately, the previously mentioned variety really carries the visual experience. There are 7 unique territories to explore and over 30 individual levels among them. Still, I would have loved to have seen the same kind of polish that Konami's other Genesis games received. A few extra layers in the backgrounds or some nice line scrolling additions could have elevated a good-looking game into a great one. The sound and music are all solid in this one. From the theme song of the show to some nice original tracks, it holds up well and does the source material justice. Konami never seemed to have any issues getting the old Genesis sound hardware sounding good, and this one is no exception. Here are a few examples so you can see what I mean. Buster's Hidden Treasure really is a top-notch product. It's true it's aimed at a younger crowd and the gameplay is fairly simple in nature, but it's all done so well, I think it holds up as one of Konami's best. Buster and his pals look great, the music is catchy, and there are a bunch of stages to run around in. I think Konami molded this after many of the traits seen in Sega's Sonic series. Not just how Buster builds up speed and can be pretty fast, but also in the simple execution of his play mechanics. This was meant to be picked up and played by just about any age group. Critiques are few, but I do have some. First, Konami really could have added some more layers to those backgrounds. This is a good-looking Genesis game, and it could have been pushed to something truly memorable. One thing about the graphical presentation that I really disliked were the underwater areas. Instead of using a simple wavy effect, they chose the dithered false transparency to cover the entire play area. On anything S-Video and above, this looks pretty bad and is something I could have done without. These underwater areas also have a secondary problem. You can't swim and attack at the same time. That means that you have to avoid enemies instead of taking them out. I understand that Konami wanted to save space on the animation, but Buster really needed a way to defend himself in these instances. There are times where you feel completely helpless. I also felt that Konami really missed an opportunity to get the entire Tiny Toon cast in on the action. Once rescued, each of your friends could have been a playable option with their own attacks to really give the game some extra dimension. Most of the animation frames for them were already there, so why not? In a way, this suffers a very similar situation as Sunset Riders on the Genesis. The tiny cartridge was great for what it was, but you just know had this been 8 megabits and included a few more design tweaks, this could have been top 10 material in the same class as Sonic 3. I also felt stripping away continues at the halfway point was kinda lame for younger players. This game is easy during the first few stages, so it really is the latter half when you need the continues the most. Most of these later challenges involve blind drops to insta-deaths and can be extremely frustrating. The password system does alleviate this to some degree, but it still sucks a bit. Aside from these few complaints, Tiny Toon Adventures here is another stellar addition to Konami's excellent stable of 16-bit Sega products. To be just 4 megabits, it packs a hell of a lot of gameplay in there, and I think most of you will really appreciate what it has to offer. To this day, it's amazing to me how little attention the retro community pays this title. Right now on eBay, a loose cart can be had for a tenner, and even complete in box, it can be often had for little more than $20 or so. That's a steal for a quality game of this era. There are many games on the same platform, not half as good, that command a ton more money. Like many of Konami's games on the Genesis, this saw a reissue in the awful paper boxes with black and white manuals in the latter half of the 90s, giving you two options to collect it. I'm not sure why this one isn't held in higher regard today. Konami advertised the hell out of it, and like I said in the beginning, it was rated really well by all the popular game magazines. It seems to have sold well because you should have no issues at all finding a copy on eBay, and it makes a regular showing at all the mom and pop shops I frequent. This makes me believe that perhaps it's the property itself that was the cause. Maybe Tiny Toon simply is not as strong as IP as I had previously believed. Whatever the reason, don't sleep on this one. It looks and sounds good and plays really well. It's extremely collectible even here in 2021. You can't say that about many retro games anymore, and Tiny Toon Adventures, Buster's Hidden Treasure is definitely worth a look. I'm Sega Lord X, thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you next time.